Hey everyone, well here we go, taking a look at the Insta360 GO 2. Now, I've been looking forward to checking this out, and that's what I've been doing the last couple of days. And so this is not going to be a full deep dive video into all the different features and modes and resolutions of the 360 GO 2. This is just going to be a quick first look, and I'm going to talk about the main differences between this and the original 360 GO, and then show you some of the footage I captured while testing this out over the last couple of days. So first there's the remote charging case, which I'll talk about this in a bit because it does quite a few things. And here you have this little clip mount, and this is this part here is ratcheted, so it'll stay in whatever position you put it, and it's magnetic, so the camera just pops in there. So that's pretty handy. And here you have this little pivot stand. Its name implies pivots, and you can hold this, point the camera around, and then underneath this little cover is a very tacky sort of pad, and you can stick this onto smooth surfaces like glass. And I used this today. I stuck this on the outside of my car to capture a little clip, and it worked pretty well. So pretty nice little accessories that come with it. Nicest of all though, this is the remote charging case, kind of the party piece. So you open this up and you put the camera in there to recharge it, and here you have a little display, and there's a Bluetooth connection, Bluetooth connection between the case and the camera, so you can control this camera up to about 30 feet away. It's like a normal Bluetooth range. And so from here you can switch between various video modes, start, stop recording, and change all the settings. So that's really handy, much nicer than, much more convenient than connecting this to an app every time. And I don't know if you noticed, but you can see there's a mode here called Pro Video, and then also one that's just called, it does HDR video as well, and also there's one called just video. And that's one of the differences between this and the original 360 GO. And I might as well talk about those things now. Oh, almost forgot. This also has little legs on the back, so you can turn this into a little makeshift tripod. Not the sturdiest thing, but it absolutely works for this purpose. So unlike the original 360 GO, this has two video shooting modes, and the first one called video just as a basic stabilization. And with that one, you can't do any flow state tricks in post-production, so you can't do any reframing or anything like that. Just a basic stabilized video, which I think would be good if you're just, let's say, wanted to record acro from your FPV. You would use maybe that mode, let's say. But then the Pro Video mode is the one that allows you to do the full flow state, reframing, and horizon lock and all of that stuff. So if you want to shoot smooth cinematic footage, then you would choose the Pro Video mode. You'll have to kind of decide ahead of time which mode you think you want to use, because you can't go back and change back and forth between the two, although a flow state video can have the stabilization turned off, but you can't turn flow state on in a normal basic video. So I'll continue on with some of the differences between this and the original. The other big difference is the record time, which the original was limited to only 5 minutes in so-called FPV mode, but this one will record for up to 30 minutes, which is quite a big improvement, although that will drain most of the battery in this, and you will have to recharge it for a little while. This records, like for about 30 minutes, and then this can probably recharge it, I think 2 or 3 times before you need to recharge the whole thing. But you can record at least 30 minutes with this, although it will get quite hot and it will need airflow to record for that time. But that's quite a long time, and I can't imagine anyone would actually want to record anything for 30 full minutes. So I just have it set up for, I think, 15 minutes, and I always just stop and start it myself anyway. And then the original camera recorded at 1080p and 30 FPS. Whereas this one records at 2.5K, 50 FPS maximum, so that's quite a big improvement. And within the app, you can export the 50 FPS footage at 60 frames per second, and also quite a high bit rate, even up to 125 megabits, although I think it only captures at 80 megabits per second. And when you capture video in the Pro Video mode, it's a 2688 by 2688 big square, or actually spherical image, and this is what it uses to use the flow state for reframing and for stabilization. But that's what the raw image looks like. But then if you shoot in the basic video mode, it's just a 16 by 9 image that comes out of the camera. And this weighs 26.7 grams, so I think it's a few grams heavier than the original camera, and a little bit bigger, I think, in every dimension, but obviously has gained quite a bit in terms of specification. And another nice improvement over the first one is that this one has a removable lens cover. So this part here can be screwed off, and you could potentially break this and not break the actual lens element. And also you can get some additional screw-on ND filters, which I failed to order at the time I got the camera, and now they're sold out, so I don't have those at the moment, but I will get some, so that way you can tune the frame rate, or eliminate, or maybe help reduce some jello if you have some. Although in my testing today, thankfully I didn't actually have any jello, so one of the benefits of not having the ND filters was that I was able to check for jello, and unless I looked really closely, I didn't really see any in my footage, so pretty happy with that. And speaking of footage, let me show you what I tested this camera on today. A couple of different quadcopters. So the first one, probably the funniest example, was I flew it on my little GnarlyFPV Sub Atomic. And so this is just a very simple little ring mount that I made. This is similar to a mount I made for the first 360 GO, but just made it a little bit larger. Here's the look at it here. So it just has a small little M2 mounting hole in it. So I've just screwed it into the top plate there, right into the camera mount, and the camera just slides in there. And yeah, didn't really have any jello with this, as far as I could tell. This is about, like I said, 26, almost 27 grams, so made this quite a bit heavier. And so to help with that, I was flying it with a kind of a large 522S. And I ended up with this slightly comedic setup. I mean, really I should have put the battery on the bottom, but I didn't feel like changing the strap around. So I flew it like this today to test this camera out, and it did fly, but it definitely felt heavy. And when I tried to do some acro, it got a little bit weird in some of the handling, but I was able to get some, actually some smooth cinematic footage with this, with the flow state turned on. Not too bad. Only flew for about 2 minutes, so more of a novelty really than anything, but it did work. So then obviously I wanted to try it in a slightly bigger quadcopter, so then for the Diatone Roma, I decided to use the included plastic mount, and then I made this little part here. Just a very simple little kind of universal GoPro mount for the 360 GO too, and that's what I used to test it on. Like that, and I just mounted it on the front. Obviously screwed this down, of course. But obviously I also wanted to try this little ring mount on the back of the quad, that way you get the cool perspective of looking at the front of the quad, which is always fun to do with these stabilized cameras. So put the same little ring mount that I had on the Sub Atomic, just printed up a little gray one, and now captured a little bit of footage with the 360 GO on the back like this, and that was working pretty well. You have the battery mounted on the bottom, of course. But anyway, please enjoy this footage I captured, and I hope to see you next time.